Hey everybody, this week I spent half the time on bug fixing a few things and the other half the time on adding skyboxes to the game. So that was a lot harder than I thought, and it actually involved shaders and stuff. So it was the first time I actually got some shader specific stuff working in the game. The other shader stuff I tried, like shadows and geometric instancing, I couldn't get working correctly. So I was pretty happy to get the shaders working for the Skybox. Yeah, this video I'll demo the Skybox stuff and then go into the code for the Skybox and then demo a lot of the other stuff, just minor adjustments and bug fixes. So yeah, that'll be this video. So the first thing I want to demo is the Skyboxes. So far I've got a bunch in, but it was a bit of a process to get them in. So the first thing obviously was setting up the code to have skyboxes and building a shader for it, but then also making the skyboxes themselves. Was first I started with these images. Was like the 3D space into the one 2D image, and then I went to a website that could convert that image into 6 separate, so like the top image, the bottom, front, back, and left and right, and then from that added them into a Photoshop to just do a sky cross. And then another software called CubeMapGen, ATI CubeMapGen, it allowed you could import the sky cross and then it exported as DDS, I think the file type is, and that is a texture cube that MonoGame understands, and then the shader and that outputs all this. But yeah, I'll go into that in code, but for this I just want to demo. So I still want to edit these images a bit and then re-add them, but as they are at the moment they're pretty cool. So like this is one. I've added a bunch of console commands as well, which can quickly show some of the other ones. So like level skybox, distant city. Like there's some really cool skyboxes. But yeah, most likely going to be editing them more to make them look a bit neater, and maybe some visual effects that would suit the style of the game. So there's that one, and there's like, I'll pretty much show them, most of them, because a lot I'll be using. There's City 5 to City 9 I've added. Some are more realistic style, some are more like a cyberpunk style. This one, little Skybox City 6. So like this one's probably more cyberpunk, but this was what I'm going for is the areas you're in will be obviously the 3D models part of the level, but the skybox you want to have distant cities. So that's kind of what I've gone for with this, is distant cities that makes you look like you're in the middle of the city. So yeah, underneath, which you probably wouldn't see, you've got like these roads as well, but they shouldn't be visible once the levels are done. So you only really, and not all the time, you'll see chunks of the city. So this could be Deus Ex City. We'll go into the next one. 7. So again, another city. 8. This one's similar to the last one. Just quickly demoing them. 9. This one's got a nice building and a bridge. That kind of looks weird there though. Yeah, that's this one. Kind of reminds me of Paris or something. And then there was one and one in space. Pretty nice. The other thing was I've got ones in like underwater, which are underground or underwater in Antarctica, and that's kind of one of the levels is going to be as well. And then I still have to get ones in the mountain, because there'll be all sorts of locations to see in the levels. So like a lot of city ones, one will be in space, one will be in Antarctica, one in the mountains, probably other areas which I still have to think of, but they're the main ones. So yeah, this is some of the skyboxes I've got in already. But yeah, like I still will have to edit them a bit. Yeah, just made these quick levels, which are the skybox and this. So yeah, that's it for the skyboxes. So now going into the code for the skybox generation. I followed the RB Ritaker's tutorial, which is mainly for XNA, but it still applies to MonoGame. So you still can use that, and I was pretty happy that this was the first shader I got working correctly. So like, if we look here, so I've got my skybox, the shadow maps I haven't got working yet, hardware instancing also wasn't working correctly. So yeah, and this skybox, it's pretty much, so this it's pretty much the same as what you should get if you're following the tutorial. The only difference was I set it to 4, the vertex and pixel shaders. So depending on what version of the MonoGame framework you're using, maybe you have to set it to 5 as well. But I'm on an older version, I don't even know what version of MonoGame framework I'm using. So, but for me, setting it to 4 worked. So that was one thing to set up the shaders, which it returns as well texture cube, which we've got here, texture cube, and that's why you need to use the DDS file type, or if there's another file type that supports arrays of textures. That was kind of my understanding of what a texture cube is anyway. So yeah, and then you're just loading in that, so city 8 here, textures skybox city 8, that's that DDS file. So if we go back to it now with that as well, so if we look here, one of the things you will need to do, and I had it on some of the skyboxes, is set pre-multiply alpha to false. So all my skyboxes, they're set to false. If you don't, there may be some that will come up just black. So yeah, that's one change. Set that to false. You may have to change this, the shader compile versions, but if you follow that tutorial, which I'll link in this video's description, you should be okay. Now the actual code as well, here I've just created a new Skybox class, which then we load in that switch based on, for now, the level. So like here, just like you saw in the demo, I just type the transition to that level, like Skybox City 8 or space, and then it loads that skybox, and then you're loading the skybox effect shader you created. So that's the skybox effect there. Now the draw, it's mostly similar to how you would usually draw your 3D models. So like here's the draw for the skybox. If we compare it to model render, which is the one I'm using to draw the usual models. Where is it? It should be under object. Oh yeah, I've put it under its own folder now. So like if we compare, where is it? Yeah, no, that's the skinned. So if we compare it here, I've got it for each mesh, for each basic effect. I think you don't need that. Oh, so I've got it the other way around. But it's pretty much similar. This part effect, you're just passing in the skybox effect as well. And here, world. So this is all on, yeah, this should have been all on the Ubby Whittaker's tutorial as well. So yeah, but if you want to just see the code for that as well, it's here. So the other thing you'll have to do, so here where I'm drawing it, so I draw it in my gameplay screen, which acts as like the hub for all the gameplay draws or updates. But here we're in level draw. I'm drawing all my objects, everything you see, the camera, even level.update, which is handling the frustum culling and everything. But yeah, so as you see here in gameplay draw, I've got at that same level the skybox. And then because what you have to do is you have to switch the rasterizer state to, it was either clockwise or anti-clockwise. So if we look, skybox, so here, and you have to set your rasterizer state as well in the initialize. You can't just change your default rasterizer state on the fly. So if you're using 1, you can't just mid-game set default rasterizer state cull mode to be, say, clockwise face and then back. So yeah, I've actually had to have 2 rasterizer states. So if you see errors when you try and just switch them, which I think was part of the tutorial, it says to just switch the rasterizer state. You can't, I don't think you can do it. Well, not that I found anyway. So what I did was set 2 rasterizers and then just switch between them. So here I've got the default, and that cull mode is counterclockwise, and then the skybox one, the cull mode is clockwise. So, and then I'm setting my initial one to be the default, and then when we get to draw the skybox, you switch it, your rasterizer state, to use the skybox rasterizer just for that cull mode to be, yeah, it was clockwise for skybox. So then you set it to that, draw the skybox, and then you set it back to your usual rasterizer state, which has the cull mode you want, and then you draw the rest of the stuff you need. So that was the main things for drawing the skybox. I think that was everything related to it. So yeah, the main things is making sure you set the pre-multiply alpha to false, and set in your shader the correct compile versions, and making sure you're switching the rasterizer state's cull mode relevant for the skybox. So that's it for the skybox. So the other stuff I've been adding was mainly just miscellaneous stuff and a lot of bug fixes or adjustments. Not completely perfect, but a little bit better. So the first thing I'll demo is this effect. It's not perfect yet, and I've just turned it on. Like, it's not going to be on for a little while in the game, but this is the start of it. It's just this flickering fire effect. So any models that can be near emissive lighting, they can have something like this. So at the moment it's applying to all models, but when I'm doing more work and even adding fire objects, the effect like this will be based on distance from the emissive. So like if we had a fire here, maybe these would get the full fire effect, and then like ones over there, they may get it a little bit less. But then yeah, to get it proper you have to use shaders. And yeah, the only luck I've had with shaders so far is on the Skybox, so it may be a while before I'm getting proper lighting effects. But for now, we've say got this emissive lighting effect here. So that was one thing that I added this week. The other thing now is the rotation is fixed. So on the level transitions. And if you notice on this one, I'm facing to the left. So now that's proper. And then, so I've set it up to now you can start either facing left, right, forward or back on the transitions. So yeah, that's that one as well. There was a problem with the bullets and it wasn't noticeable until, so I only noticed it this week when I set VSync off, and on this level I was getting like 1500 frames per second facing this way, and then like 400 frames facing this way. My frame rate's playing up a bit, I think, because of the recording. But yeah, so what would happen if I shot a bullet in this direction, say when the frame rate was 400, it would take say 1 second to get to this pole. But if I shot here, then so yeah, that's right. So if I shot facing this direction and I slowed the bullet speed down, so you would see it move at a constant rate, but then if you turned around and the frame rate would go up, the bullet would move up, would speed up, but the bullet speed was constant relative to the frame rate staying the same the whole time. So, and it was just simply, I had set the bullet move speed on the creation of the bullet. So it say you fired here at 1500 frames per second, it would base the bullet's move speed on the, you know, the base bullet move speed multiplied by delta time, and it would keep that throughout. So if you came here and made the frame rate drop, the bullet move speed would go down because its initial move speed was based on the lower delta time float. So that was just that one thing. So now that's fixed. And also the player movement. So now in all directions, the movement speed is constant, and even if you're pressing multiple keys. So if we go, if you notice the move speed display there, just in that top chunk of text, the last line. So now when it goes 0.02 in all directions when we're pressing multiple keys, so it's staying at that 0.2. So that was another thing. And then there was problems still with falling through the ground, or you would get stuck. So like if we came over here and stood under one of these blocks and let it push us under a little bit into the ground, it's already done it here. So initially you wouldn't be able to jump or anything. So now, as you saw there, I was able to jump at least, but it kind of got stuck, but no longer stuck in the ground anymore. So the result of that as well gave a more responsive jump. So at times the jump, when you were just walking normally, it wouldn't, you press space and it wouldn't jump properly. So that's fixed too now. And then the other thing is gimbal lock. So it still was doing gimbal lock, but there was also a problem. Like if I flick up quickly, See how it kind of doesn't go all the way to the top? But if I do it slowly, it's alright. So the faster you do it, the more you get stuck. And that's because the way I've got it at the moment is if the next frame is going to cause trigger gimbal lock, then I just prevent it from happening. Because the other way, it also was doing this the other way, and that's the main reason I was trying to fix it. But it also still was allowing it in certain times, gimbal lock still occurred. So now at the moment, gimbal lock doesn't occur anymore, but I spent ages trying to fix this, but I still haven't been able to get that proper. I know the proper way to do it is quaternions, but I've got the code embedded so much now that I'm pretty much sticking to the vector 3s. So yeah, it's kind of still there, but I think it's a minor issue now. So in regular gameplay, I'm hoping that people will not just try and flick up really quickly. But yeah, obviously when this is turned into a game and then releases and there's player feedback, then can adjust. So there's some of the bug fixes I did this week as well. I tried to do fixes for the standing on the side and that, but it was playing up a bit. Like I actually had it would prevent you from phasing through underneath, it would prevent you from walking here, but then at times it would allow you to phase through the floor. So I've kind of just still got that. So they're the main things left, which I don't know if I'll look at for a little while, because I've spent so much time like on just this alone and made no progress. Same with gimbal lock, I spent a little bit of time on that with not much. Like I've improved it a little bit to prevent that gimbal lock from occurring, but it still needs a bit of work. So that's the current state. So yeah, that was the other stuff I worked on this week. So thanks for watching, everyone. This week was mainly those two things. The Skybox, which took up a few days, and then trying to resolve those remaining issues. So making good progress there, but the two main ones was that gimbal lock issue is still kind of there. It's not perfect, and the phasing through the ramps. So there are two major things left, bugs left, but I don't think I'll be looking at them for a while, because for now there's workarounds if I need to, and I want to start adding more content. So yeah, this week was pretty busy, so I didn't get as much time as well to work on the game. But yeah, that's all for this week. So thanks for watching, and hopefully see you in the next video.